Hello, my name is Brandi Hofer, your host of the Color Me Happy podcast. I am so glad you're here. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. If you want more weekly content just like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We cannot wait for you to be a part of our community here, and you can join our free community on Facebook. It is about empowering your community through your creativity, and we want you to be there. I am Brandi. I am a Canadian artist, author, mother, and educator, obviously podcaster, because I'm here chatting with you right now. We talk about on the podcast everything from scaling your business from 0 to 6 figures, motherhood, lots of women's health, very unfiltered conversations there. We have on some extremely amazing guests. I don't even know how I talked to them really, but they said yes. And we want to talk about we want to empower you. We want to talk about those things. We want to empower you to reach out to people who you never thought you'd talk to, ask for opportunities that you never thought you'd get, because we want you to see your everyday as extraordinary, just as we have. We shifted from being like this ho-hum kind of victim complaining kind of person with terrible money mindset, really bad, hiding like money mindset books under my, like waddling around pregnant, hiding my mindset book, money mindset book, being ashamed of wanting money. But the thing about that is that if you want to grow, if you want to expand, if you want the life that you live, that's one of the things you need that will help you along your way. And then you'll inspire others to do the same. It'll be a really cool journey. So come along with us, and we cannot wait. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram at Brandi Hofer Studios anytime. I'm happy to chat. That's where I sit, and I'm so glad you're here, and I cannot wait for you to dive in. So give us a like and subscribe. I even got fireworks at the end of that. Success! This is the video I'm going to use. Welcome to Color Me... Almost had it there. Welcome to Color Me Happy podcast. My name is Brandi Hofer, your host. I'm so excited that you're here. Today's episode is amazing. It's a fresh one. I just recorded it with Shannon Amey. She's a Canadian who has been living in Europe for a long time. I don't know the exact timeline. We met up 4 or 5 years ago. She invited me to one of her mastermind groups. And honestly, I attribute so much of my career to Shannon's advice in that one mastermind over the course of a few months. Like crazy things. She helped me recover from, actually she told me before I burnt out that I was about to burn out. She told me what I was doing was not sustainable, but in a really great way. She's like, she asked me while I was in it, I didn't see it, but she saw it. She's like, Brandi, I'm so glad you're selling so many originals and doing so many custom orders, but what is what you're doing sustainable? And I was like, I just didn't want to hear it. And then, of course, I burnt out a few months later, and she totally called it. And we both hit last year, financially, our goals that we had set initially in that time. So hitting over 6 figures. We had talked about it for a couple of years. I hit my goal that was over 6, not past 6 figures, but within just over 100. I'll just tell you my goal. It was $132,000 exactly, and I hit it exactly. It was kind of crazy. That's why I love goal setting. We talk about it a lot because it's just crazy that it happens. And my personal goal was to just surpass my husband's income. It's fun. To be a little bit competitive in a funny way. There's no reason why. I was just like, I want to make just a little bit more than you to prove a point. And competitive spirit. It's great. It's fun. So anyway, I wanted to bring Shannon on to talk about the value in coaching and mentorship, setting goals and reaching them and celebrating, and the crazy ways it can happen. Not only do you set to do these things and expand what you're doing, or maybe pivot in some way, it doesn't necessarily work out the way you plan it, but it does work out, and it's like, figuring out what you like to do and figuring out what didn't work. So we talk a lot about that in this episode. I love talking to her. We have a problem actually of like trying to not talk and like hit our timeline, which never happens. We do have a freebie for you. It is in the links below. That will initially, like, it will take you to our class that we talk about in this podcast, but we have a marketing don'ts and whoops. And it will take you into our Diversify Your Income course, which we put together because we actually have a lot of tools, and we broke up our income pies to tell you how we reach that, and lots of tools for you in there. Shannon also has a few really great workbooks about setting goals in that course. What else did I have? There's a lot in there. There's bonus material, and it's a wonderful place to go. And if you're looking to build your business and not burn out by that, like if you're creative and say you're a photographer and you just summer. I was just talking to my photographer friend on Wednesday, and she doesn't want to, she's like, she had a baby, and she's like, I'm fine with not taking photos right now. Like, you get so burnt out. And so because, they go to the events their whole summer, and in Canada, summers are like not very long, and we have to like do winter all year. It really sucks. So summer, you want to like enjoy yourself and enjoy the weather and live your life. But when you're a photographer, you're out every weekend at a wedding, or you're doing grad photos every evening of the week, stuff like that. So you're this one or two, depends on your business, one or two people, your photographer and your assistant. You haven't outsourced your editing. So then not only are you physically somewhere, but then you're physically spending hours and hours and hours of editing. You send this package, you charge $500, $700, $1,000. You can only physically do so many of those before you get burnt out. So we look at a system, okay, how can you be a photographer, take X amount of jobs in your calendar? I'm only taking 4 jobs this year for this amount of money. And then I have this other thing. I made this, for example, class. I made this class about how to become a photographer, how to stage grad photos or whatever. And now I sell this class also to emerging photographers, or whatever other idea you have, that goes along with your business. So you set up these systems, and then you have that sustainable passive thing. So you start experiencing freedom in your life and freedom of choice. So that is what that course is about. I'm very excited because spring is here, which means our sketchbook project, which is so fun for summer. We love to get our communities involved in that. It's good for anyone. It's good for creatives. It's good for children. It's good for emerging artists. We get out there. We enjoy summer. We take our sketchbook on holiday. I even added, I haven't finished these yet, but you'll see the finished versions in your sketchbook project sequence, because you'll get 1 email a week with a new sketchbook task. These are our paint pans, except I did shorts, so they're paint shorts. I have to put the patterns on still, but we go through how the step-by-step to make these, because they were so popular in our art academy, and every time I wear my paint pants, it's so funny, like paint pants. Again, I have to redo the pattern work. I'm not quite finished, but my goal is to finish today. Every time I wear my paint pants, I get so many insane compliments. So I was like, I have to put them into some sort of sequence. So my email sequence for the sketchbook project is how to make your own fun paint pants or jean jacket or jean shorts. And this area here, if you're watching the video, you can see I did a little patch. So I patched on a floral. I'm so pumped to wear these this summer. And so that's a really fun project. So get in there. I'll put the link below. Make sure you dive into the Diversify Your Income sequence, the freebies there, and that will take you to the class, or you can go straight to our classes on brandyhofer.ca to check about that collaborative piece that Shannon and I, or Diversify Your Creative Income course that Shannon and I did together. It is amazing. Shannon is amazing. Please check out her, what she offers as a mentor, because again, I attribute so much of my business success to her. And she is just, she's an amazing person. We talk about, this is the longest intro of all time. I just love Shannon. We talk about what it's like to be and what it's like to sit in. We finished the episode with sitting in the creative plane and collaborating over competing and complaining and stuff like that, which is just like, and you'll hear it. You just stay tuned. Just go to the end. Go all the way to the end, because that's where we really dive into that. Because yeah, and I'll tell you what happened when like I wasn't that kind of, I was still kind and compassionate, but not in the same way. Like I always went into victimhood and I would like complain, and then like the shift of the person I became, it's way more fun than that person. And I want that for as many people as possible, because I want you to succeed. I want as many people as possible to succeed, because the more creatives that succeed, it's just going to be a better world for us all to be a part of when we're all working together. Sunshine and rainbows all the way. Thanks for being here. Enjoy this episode. It was you when you hosted a mastermind 4 years ago, and probably that you are the person who affected the biggest pivot career-wise for me. And we talk about this. We teamed up on our Diversify Your Creative Income course that we did together recently, because we both hit our goals that we had talked about in that original mastermind of going over 6 figures in your creative career. And so we shared everything that we did to get there, even like the pie, like we broke it all down. We were very raw and honest and authentic about how we did it. But so I would say, I love how I'm talking about mentorship and how people should have it, but I mentor others as well. And it is so beneficial because people can see things that you're not seeing. And specifically for me, you said, I'm so glad you're seeing success and selling your art. And I had done 130 in 1 year originals, mostly custom orders. And you're like, but I don't think that's, or you said, Brandi, is that sustainable? And I was just like, I'm fine. And then a few months later, I burnt out so hard, and a whole bunch of hard but great stuff happened. So I mentorship is so crucial, I think, to like even going a couple of years ahead of where you could be. It's like a little fast forward button.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great way to put it. I mean, I attribute so much of my success and where my business is as well to my own participation in mentorship and programs and whatnot. I think when I was like first launching my art business, I know you know the story, but basically I'm ready to be an artist. I'm going to take my art out into the world. I'm going to get an email list and I'm going to launch collections and it's going to go great. And I tried it for a while. And I made really great work. I was really proud of it, but I didn't really have I didn't know all the fine-tuned skills and the marketing and the full package of what it took to like start on my own. So then, I went down the rabbit hole of just taking other jobs and then moving my art business to the side. And then it just kept getting further and further pushed away from me, which didn't feel good. And then years later, I did invest in mentorship programming and mentorship. And that's when you can just go further, faster together, right? Yeah. I think that what's really good for me too is that I'm not somebody that goes for that old school coaching type of thing where someone's like, do this, do this, do this now in this order. Like everybody in the group has to do the same thing on the same timeline and the same deadlines. I think what works with mentorship programs is that they're really individually tailored, where it's like you pick and choose what's going to work for you and your business in a timeline that feels right for you, you know? And the information that's not applicable to your business today is you start frameworking it into where you're going to put it next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so is that how you run your personal mentorship program?
So my personal mentorship program, we're gearing up. We just finished a 3-month intensive program, which was awesome. But a lot of the participants said it's like a fire hose of information.
Weird. Yeah. I love when we email and I like send like 2 sentences and you send like 17.
Yeah, that's how my brain works, huh? But
Yeah.
a lot of them
You're a great teacher. Like that's what you do. That's like you're a great artist as well, but like you genuinely care and you see things in others and you help them, you know?
Yeah, I think running the year-long artist mentorships from my own platform is like a really perfect fit, right? Like I went to art school and I studied to become an artist. And then I went on and I collected a whole bunch of fancy degrees in education. And so balancing the two of being both an artist and an educator, I just spent so many years trying to figure out like how I can still make art and how I can still also work and like help other people as well. And so now I've got it and it's perfect because I'm essentially running programs with people who are also my colleagues, right? So we're like you. So we're expanding our networks together and then going on to do future collaborations, and everybody in the group networks with each other. And so my programs are now basically all of the pain points that I've identified with all the people and artists I've worked for who are starting their businesses or expanding their businesses. Sometimes it's people who are in the just beginning. They want to launch full time, transition, leave a job. A lot of people are maybe 5 years in or 10 years in and they've kind of stagnated, or the collections aren't selling like they used to because they've reached the threshold of their network and they're looking to expand, or they want more passive income streams, things like this. So it's kind of a great way where I've identified all of these pain points that people are having in their business and made a structured program to support people to reach their own individual goals for their business. But using like the tried, tested, and true things that we know you need to have a successful business that's sustainable, where you're not going to burn out. So structured assistance. I don't know. I forget what your question is now already, and I'm yammering on.
That's okay. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's the idea of being in a program with a group of like-minded people that are a network that are cheerleading for you, where we have monthly group sessions, where we have a key learning topic and structured sequence that you can follow to implement that in your business, where it's followed up also with a one-on-one session. And so my groups are really small and intimate, that I'm still able to offer the one-on-one sessions as well for the program, which I think is pretty nice. I haven't participated in any other programs myself where I had the opportunity to have that. So I really like it that I offer that, because sometimes there's things that you can navigate through the one-on-ones that maybe it's just different than being in the group. So it's nice to have them complement each other, to have both.
Yeah, and sometimes people are shy, actually.
Yes.
And they don't want to ask a question in the group, or they're like, I don't want to take up anyone else's time or whatever, right?
I seriously just posted a reel before we hopped on this call for people. I'm like offering like free 20-minute artist consultations for the month of June for people to like navigate what's the next step in their business. There's no strings attached. You can come ask me about my program, or we can just talk about a problem or where you want to go. But sometimes I think people are just shy. Yeah. And the one-on-ones are a great way to navigate that. And something that I'm going to introduce for our 1-year program coming in September is, instead of having group accountability, I'm going to set up accountability partners or pods where, where people can organize, where we can set up where they organize a call or a meeting. And it's, if we're going to let anyone down, the accountability is just to help you stay motivated for your own goals, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm in accountability pods. They're great.
Yeah. Do you ever think, like, I remember my mom years ago said to me about like booking vacations, and there's like people who just never take holidays or never make time for it. But if you just like show up for work one day or around your friends and you just start telling people like, I'm going to Hawaii. You just say it. You just throw it out into the universe. You're like, I'm going to Hawaii. And people will start saying, when? And you're like, we'll let you know very soon. And then you just find yourself online, and then you're booking flights, and then you're taking time off, and you just, you're making yourself accountable to yourself. You like throw it out into the world or to another person or to the accountability pod to like manifest it and make it happen. You're 10 times more likely to follow through with sending that email or that proposal or whatever it is if you tell someone you're going to do it.
Yeah, right? Like, totally.
I don't know what you're afraid of.
I don't need a group for that. I'm super chatty and I love to tell people what's going on. And yeah, like you're like, oh, I have to really like do a good job on, I usually do it with like projects and stuff. I'm like, now I have to do a really good job and like follow through and figure all this stuff out that I don't know how to do yet. I think it's great. And I think I have that with the podcast, right? Like whatever it is, like, and connecting, like I stay connected with a ton of especially women creatives, I have to say. And we all hold one another accountable, and we touch base and we chat again. And I know someone like Victoria J. Fry, she has a visionary art collective. She always has a mentor. Like she thrives on like having a new one every few years and like growing and growing and growing. Like, what's my next, step?
Yeah. And
I'm personally very good at that. I feel like a mentor could push me, but I did set a new insane. Here I go, saying it out loud to you. I figured out I have another financial goal. Because I'm like, if money sits in the bank, it gains money. So I'm like, now I have this obsessive little goal in my own brain that I want $100,000 to be in this one account, besides investments, because all my pots are full, or buckets, whatever you call it, in investing. I took a deep dive into dorky investing, but not too far, because I don't like reading the spreadsheets or whatever they have on I don't understand. Like, I have a hard time understanding the investment codes and charts, because
like numerical. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's not me. So anyways, I set it and forget it with investments. But I read all the books, like, of female investing books, and they talk about your buckets. So like you have your savings, you have your backup fund, you have your investments, you have your child accounts, you have whatever. So my buckets are full. So I'm like, I want this. So I figured out how many classes I would have to sell this year to hit it. So I was like, I've got this obsessive number, and I'm figuring, and now it's at 833. And now I'm like, how am I going to get there? How am I going to hit that number to get this? So that can sit in that.
Yeah.
Right. So now I just said it out loud to you, and now we're going to talk about it again, maybe in a year. And
I love it. And in my program, I teach people how to do that, how to make a goal, like a financial goal, and then what you need to backwards by design do to create it. So if it's like how to diversify your income into different chunks, if it's about how to launch collections, like how much do you need to work? How much do you need to sell? Where do you need to sell it? How much profit do you need to make? What are your expenses? Like, what is it actually going to take you to get to that goal? And we break it all down. It's possible. You know that already.
It is possible. Yeah.
You just got to set it up.
Unfortunately for me, it hasn't been possible through, like you just gave an example, selling my art. Unfortunately, I treat those as bonuses. So yeah, I just had a chat with my gallery the other day, and they're like, it's not that your art, your art is just as good as this, like technically, as this artist. They're like, but we're in Saskatchewan and we mostly sell landscapes and like animal faces, and they're like, that's just the reality of like abstracts and portraiture, and that's what I make, is like the least thing we sell. And so yes, I'll figure that out, but like I'm not dependent on it, which for me, that is my own definition of success, because I did try to sell art for like a decade and I got really tired of it. So and that's okay. So I think getting down to the root of what defines success for you personally, and I think a coach or mentor can help you. Like obviously it still breaks my heart that I can't sell 10 pieces a month, but I probably would get burnt out again because I've already kind of done that.
I was just going to say, like, the idea of selling 10 pieces a month, it sounds really exhausting to me too.
I've done that. I did actually do that. And it's just like when you make a collection, you hope the collection sells, but really my collection sells slowly over a year or two. Yeah. So it's just knowing your market, I guess, feeling it out. Well,
there's this balance between knowing your audience and like doing different types of testing. Like sometimes with an artist, like I think as a reasonable full-time artist, the maximum amount of collections, if you're full-time just making art, you can launch in years 4. So quarterly, and one of those kind of being like a small holiday shop collection sort of thing that looks a bit different.
Super small, like nothing, like that's the thing. I make big work.
And so I think sometimes, especially for people being burnt out, I have somebody I'm working with right now, and 2 people actually, and we're talking about that. Like if you just want to make big work and you don't want to make the little things, then what about just highlighting and illuminating one piece at a time and nurturing it and nourishing it and sharing it and finding how that fits in with your audience and collectors, and then figuring out how to segment and like connect more with those types of people, because you want to find a market that matches the energy you have too. You can only make so many paintings. If you want a full-time
and making a bunch of small pieces, that's not like, I'm sorry, I can't, for our lives and the way my children eat, I need money, and I can't sit down and spend the X amount of time and make $80 to $200 on this thing and like even to throw it in and promote it isn't worth it within my like marketing. My marketing space, like it has to be focused on right now in my life with our busy schedule, has to be focused on the big projects that pay. So like murals, I'll only take a job if it's $5,000. I know I'm sounding snobby, but this is my life right now. These are my boundaries. It's got to be a $5,000 more job. So I show up, I have my install time, I have like everything figured out, all the math, do the math, which we teach in our course, right? You got to do the math. I've got what my material costs, what my timeline is, and it's set in the calendar like 4 months in advance. Then I execute it. I've been paid. That project's done, and then I move on to the next big one, because I can't do the $80, the $200, the $500, the little. I don't have the bandwidth, and honestly, those aren't really my clients anymore. Like it's just things shifted, I guess.
Or the amount of time to go to the post office that often. I only take
drop shipping.
Oh well.
Yeah, I just did a big print release. That doesn't mean I like forgot about those people who collect the small things. The tailored piece I did, limited edition, but that was limited edition. Very strategic, right? The first 50 collectors. So with that, I know X amount of time, even though I'm saving the original for Taylor Swift herself.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I only take maximum of 4 commissions a year now. So I spread them out.
Good for you.
And they are of a certain size and dimension. So nothing under $3,000.
Yeah.
I can't. And I want to do a really good job because I'm interested in developing and nurturing relationships with collectors who are going to be repeat customers that are going to come back rather than just one-time purchase of somebody for a small little 6x6. That's, it's where I am at my business too, because I'm putting a lot of energy and effort into my mentorship programs and my education stuff. And I give so much of myself to those people. And I'd rather do that than spending time going to the post office.
Yeah.
You think about it, nurturing relationships and connections and collectors that come back, if you had 1,000 people, that's not so many people. If there was 1,000 people out there who are willing to spend $100 a year on your business, that's not a lot of money. That would be a great salary, wouldn't it? That's the salary that people are looking for. And so if you think about your email list and your social media and nurturing relationships with people and finding ways to have these repeat people coming back, it takes time. But when you build a solid foundation, you build your business organically and authentically and naturally, and you're connecting with people, they're going to come back. And when you make more room in your business, as you know, by diversifying your income, you have opportunities to make boundaries. I won't take a mural for less than $5,000. I only take 4 commissions a year, none less than $3,000. So you can say yes to bigger projects. So you want things that are higher profit, higher value, and not taking more of your time for less profit and less value. Of course, you want to do things that you want to do. It's,
the thing is, people are so like, oh, I feel so gracious to sell this one thing to the, you really have to step back. And I think, and what I learned from you and when we were in your mastermind, it's like, do I love doing this? Do I love doing this? And am I sacrificing, what I'm worth, like with these smaller, like, I feel like, okay, so last summer I was talking to someone who was opening a gallery and they're like, we're thinking of doing a call for art. And I was like, you will be surprised. And I'm sorry, I don't want to say this about artists, but I'm like, so many people will apply. Artists are desperate because I remember being in that emerging artist spot and you're just so desperate for because you think in this limiting belief that once I get into a gallery, that means success.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily true.
No. And it can be a complementary component. I mean, I work with galleries and you do too. It can be a complementary component. Come join me in one of my programs and I have lots to say about how to choose a gallery and who to work with and where and why and when. You definitely just don't say yes to the first person who shows interest in you. They need you just as much as you need them. But it can be a nice relationship in one component, but it's definitely not the be all or end all, is it? And my thing is that I want each year, I want to be able to say yes to more things I love to do and to get rid of the things that I don't like to do. And I want the things that I like to do to be increasing in probability and the things that I don't like to do be able to keep dropping off and becoming, I want this elevator thing going on. And each year spending time building in new structures and formats of things that become more passive income streams. So just continuing to diversify and having more places and more pockets, seeing how things go, and then picking and choosing what feels good, what works for me, and where I want my energy, and then looking at the numbers and the math and seeing at the end of the year or the end of the quarter, what actually is profitable. It's like when people really like to make these greeting cards. Well, I like to make them too. I could spend hours making greeting cards, but nobody's going to be making $150,000 a year selling greeting cards for $5. Even
or sitting at the market with your greeting cards or whatever. It's just
so, yeah. And the time, you already know this about me. I'm not anti-market, but I don't have time to load all this crap into the
Oh,
vehicle
the markets.
and get it.
Oh, I saw people at a market last weekend because we were in the hockey tournament. My sons were on the street fest, and I remember going to those markets, and I remember, and it was raining, and it was like, so you spent like weeks getting ready for this market, and like I had some good markets in that festival, but I also had like years where my feet were like soaking and I was shivering, and then I threw up because I was pregnant, and I was like, thank goodness I threw up, because I would have sat here all day and nothing would have happened.
Can I ask you, back then, what was a good market day for you?
Yeah, I think when like I would get a good collector,
But
like I would pick up on like sell a big piece or get a new collector that was interested. They're still not, that's why I stopped doing them. They're not actually good. Right now, the only thing I'll do is show up to like a women's event with my book, my books. Like, and the table set up, and I will go for half an hour after because books aren't, I pack a book and my sign, and then I get to interact with people who support me in a different way. Like, and usually I've done motivational speaking at the event, and then they'll buy my book. So then I sell $200 worth of books. No, it's not a huge thing for my bottom line, but those people are going to be really invested in me because they've read my personal story, right? And then they'll check out the podcast, and then they'll sign up for the newsletter, and then like that's a different market.
There's different in-person events in art fairs and galleries and different things where you can be engaged and present and talking and interacting with people that will help people better know and identify with your brand as an artist and your narrative and what you value and what's important to you. And it's much more deeper because it's like organic and authentic engagement, right? They're meeting the artist, and people are connecting with you more than art. People see a pretty picture, that's one thing, but they connect with you, with the artist, and having those opportunities is great, but
it doesn't mean you're going to sell a whole bunch of stuff. It's no guarantee, but I would go to an art fair with a gallery. Like if the gallery was setting up all the stuff and I was like, hey.
And of course, big art fairs and stuff like that, you can send your stuff with galleries because galleries love to go to these things, and it's awesome to do that. Yeah, all of these things we're talking about, and I think about some of these things I did 10 years ago or 15 years ago or even 20 years ago. If I hadn't participated or known about these types of mentorship programs back then, I feel like also maybe they didn't exist back then because we didn't have this like online Zoom stuff, interactive thing. We weren't like collaborating with people over Instagram, but I just would have saved so much time in growing my business.
Oh, I know. But also I'm one of those, like, I don't know about you, but those learners who has to like do it first a couple times to really like, oh, I hate doing this. And it wasn't worth it. So now I need to pivot and do something else. And you live and you learn and you go through it. I saw this awesome quote and I don't remember it, but it was by Maya Angelou. And she said, like, you can't fault yourself for not knowing what you knew or you didn't know. Like, you cannot get mad at yourself for you haven't experienced it yet. You haven't learned it. You haven't crossed that bridge.
We do the best we can with the knowledge that we have right now.
Yeah.
It's a really great way to like think about it too. If you like need to forgive your parents or teachers or whoever in the past for something from your childhood, you need to remember that you hope that everybody's trying their best and they did the best they could with the knowledge that they had in their toolbox and their skill set in that moment. And for yourself as well, to be gentle with yourself. And I think that, when you participate in things like mentorship programs, you have this opportunity to be in a collaborative network of other people with the same goals as you. So you like weed out naysayers. You don't have these other people saying it's not possible. You have other people who know it's possible and they're there to work together. And then you learn from each other's mistakes and sharing in these spaces as well, where somebody will be like, oh, I invested like $500 into marketing on Pinterest doing this and that, and I'll tell you why this was a bust. So it's really like good to hear that information, and of course you have to assess it if it's for you or not. But it's really nice in these environments where people openly share, because when you're looking at social media, or like, people aren't openly sharing about what's always working or what's not, you know? And still there's so many people that are really dead set on like their primary focus is like growing their Instagram audience. And I will tell you folks, this does not equal like having a bigger audience. And it's not proportional to sales. It's not proportional to more money. I know people who are just crushing it that have very small followings on Instagram. They just have strategically built their business up sustainably. So I think that's where the role of these programs come in, is where you have access to resources, you have structures in place that you can follow and see how they fit into like a system for you. You have individual attention, specific skill development, specific growth and development, but you're not like, it helps you prioritize what's going to work for you in your business rather than to maybe all the noise that you see when you're comparing yourself to everyone else.
I know women with huge followings and they haven't done it. They don't have any structures in place, and they're like figuring out like, how do I make money from this now that I have this big, that now that I DIY'd my bathroom and everyone loves me, and like, now why am I doing this? Like, what is it for?
How do I monetize? How do you monetize your income from? And I mean, we talk about different things all the time about what are the like best converting channels like that are going to support you in the long run for your business, and what's going to take you there. And obviously, if anybody's listening that's worked with me before, the two top things you need to always be thinking about are building your email list by getting in front of, like, you're trying to get in front of new audiences and attracting new collectors or new people, and then diversifying your income. These are the two things, because when you have a warm audience of people that support you and love you and want to be on this journey with you, they care about you and your story, and they're a connection with you. And then the other is, then when you're diversifying your income, you're not relying on, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. So
I think you and I have like 8 to 11 at any given time each of like income streams. Like it always changes. Like this year I'll sell more prints, and like last year I didn't sell any, or I'll do 1 year I had like 7 murals, and then the next year I had 1. And it just depends on but yes, like having a whole bunch of things, I think it really helps if you can. Some people can't, like, spread themselves out in that way, I think, but you could even do 3. Like, you could be like, I'm going to stretch to 3 this year. Like, that would be a good goal, like one day at a time, one step at a time. There was something I wanted to say in there. Oh, email lists. Okay, so you said that, and I just think people are like, great, you're talking about, I want an email list, but let's talk about how that happens and how you get people in. I know how I do it. Can you talk about how you do it?
I could talk. I used to run an entire program on this. Sure, I could talk about
this. Thank you.
So there's lots of ways to get people on your email list, but email now is essentially like having someone's phone number, right? So, you don't own your Instagram following or TikToks or Facebooks or wherever you're LinkedIn. The email list is yours, and you get to have a direct line of communication. It's like picking up the phone and talking to someone. And that's really nice, because the people that sign up for your email list want to be there. If they don't, they'll unsubscribe. Who cares? You don't want them there if they don't want to be there. But I think there's tons of ways to grow your email list. But you have to just remember to do it. I had a call with somebody this week who just had a big show and sold a bunch of paintings, didn't collect any emails. Why not have a QR code to sign up for your email in a nice, cute little frame at the show. Why not raffle or give away a print or small original at every in-person event where people sign up?
I do that at every event.
Yeah,
although you have to put print name, print email. Like, do not let people chicken scratch those forms.
I started
They're super hard to read.
The QR code is great. I know people love the fishbowl and they like to write their names to like go in the raffle, but
the QR code would be better for them to literally do it. Thank you for that. I learned something today. I put them in. Like, I have people write it out.
Do that. Stop that. That's not efficient.
It wasn't. Thank you.
Scan the QR code and it takes them right to the form, and then they just have to type in their name and their email.
Way smarter.
And then if you're trying to get people's emails, so that's for in-person events, right? But if when you're trying to grow your list from your socials and stuff, one thing is on your email or your business email, at the bottom, do you have a signature where it says subscribe to my collectors list or subscribe? Do you make it easy for people to get on that list? So every email you send, it doesn't matter if it's going to your accountant or your lawyer or your doctor, whoever, maybe they're your next collectors. You need to have a thing connected to your business that says subscribe to my letter. If you're on Instagram or things like this, don't tell people to go to your bio and press a whole bunch of links to get there. You're creating barriers. Make it easy for people. What if you make a content calendar and once a week you create a story with a message bubble that says, drop your email here if you want to be added. And then again, no chicken scratch because they have to type it, and then you copy and paste it and you add them manually. But if you're removing barriers and making it easier for people to get on that list. And obviously the best way to get people on your list on socials is to offer them something of value in exchange. So what do you have that people would give you in exchange for their email? Do you have a free video tutorial? Do you have an ebook? Do you have a print? What is it you have? A free training? Give them something of value where you can exchange that with them so they'll be on your list. And again, people say to me, I don't want to do that. They're only going to come for the freebie and they'll leave. No, they won't.
Not true.
Learn that your content is of value. They'll stay. If you're really
and some things will be more popular than other things.
That's right. And I will.
We know this. Our Diversify freebie was so good that we had like 200 people love it, and then nothing really. So we had a really, which is, you just never know what people are going to go for and what they're not going to go for. It's unpredictable, but you can figure out ways to, do something with it, or like those are still new people into the audience and they're always there. One thing, and I remember when I met you, I was scared to send an email.
Yeah, and I see that a lot. And
so I got to think back to those days where like I was so afraid of making an error, like a spelling error, but computers have come a really long way, and we have AI. Literally, like, you can type your ideas in and get a little blurb. So use that as a tool and just shoot for 1 month, like one email a month. And then I do one email a week now because I appreciate personally not more than one email a week from anyone. Like, I do not like daily emails. I don't know who came up with that and thought it was a good idea. There's Teddy, who thought like people are going to open your email every day. But maybe some people have such a subscriber list that they're fine with gaining, and they gain and lose so many. But like when you were talking about having a really nurtured audience, like I really respect the fact that I have people's email.
Yeah.
And they've given that access, so I try to give them something of value in each email.
I do too. I want to really offer value. Actually, it's scheduled for tonight. I have a segmented list just for artists and creatives, and tonight nobody knows it's coming, but I'm sending out a free book of one of the guides that I've written to people on my list. And then also just this morning published a complimentary blog post on my website to go with it too. So they can go and check it out. The marketing, why artists need to have marketing plans. I did a blog post. It's up. It's for free. And then I sent everybody a copy of the guide as well. Like, why not? Why not value and nurture the people that are there? Right now, and setting up right now for the month of June and doing the free artist consultations. Like, I think we talk about this lots before about having gratitude, but also finding ways to give back into your community. My community is the artist community. And so I think I have a skill that's with working with artists, and I want to share that. And people are welcome to come along and see if it's a fit for them or if it's not. Like, they can leave my meeting and be like, that was horseshit, and they don't have to do anything.
Probably not, though. Probably not.
It's just brainstorming ideas with somebody who's far away, that's not so close, getting some ideas and strategies to try. And sometimes, we just get in little ditches, and we just need somebody to throw us a little rope and help pull us out, and to see things on a new spectrum and a new horizon and a different direction to pivot. We get stuck in these little hurricane cyclones.
I was told this will work, and I'm going to make it work. And sometimes it's not going to work for you, or maybe it will work. It's discouraging having 10 pieces from your gallery drop back off, but they were super nice about it. But still, the artist in me was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? But they were like, she's like, your stuff is so good. That doesn't, maybe in 5 years, or maybe it'll just pick up. She's like, it's not going anywhere. You're not doing anything with it. You're not going anywhere. I was like, that is true. And they were so great about it, because they had their van and they were going from Regina to Calgary. So they were going through Alberta, they were dropping off all their art, they were just doing their own. It wasn't just me. And they were like, you just never know. This is our business. And we, so they were so authentic and wonderful. And we still have a great relationship. I didn't get mad at them, and they didn't get mad at me. We're like, they're like, we'll still throw people your way, and we'll still, and in the future, let's do this. And then I said, okay, let's do this. And it's a good partnership, right? For emails, before we go, because I heard it is your family, my family's home. Is your family home?
I'll give you some ideas of what to do with those paintings in a minute. Tell me about emails.
Okay. ManyChat. If you can afford the $15.99 monthly, ManyChat is a wonderful tool. And I've only skimmed the surface of ManyChat. I've been so busy. I'm like, I need to learn more about ManyChat. But I've gotten 500 in the last, new people in the last couple months, just through using ManyChat through Instagram comment. So it's would you like our free? It's our portrait medium guide. Is so popular. It's our thing. Our portrait class also just insanely popular. So I'm going with, I know what works and what I can sell over and over again to new people, because every time someone takes it, they send me a message how much they love it. This is what I made, and it's extraordinary. So I know it works. So I'm going to keep capitalizing on that. But ManyChat gets new people into my newsletter automatically with a DM in their inbox when they comment on Instagram. So it's very streamlined. I can get them into a sequence that I built on Flowdesk, which you got me into Flowdesk in our original mentorship. So I have Shannon to thank for so many things. Okay, tell me what you want me to do with my art.
I need to say one thing about chat is that you can use the free version. And I know in one automation on the free version, I got 200 new subscribers in the first 6 hours.
Yeah. Nice.
Guess how many of them unsubscribed after they went through my sequence?
Nice. Good for you.
Like, yeah, try it, see what works. Okay, so here's the thing. Artists have all this work sitting in their studio or coming back for galleries, and they just like, they're like, I don't know where to store stuff. And don't have it working for you elsewhere. Start using that old work submit it for art licensing. Contact some local designers who want to use it maybe for staging within houses or offering it at a trade discount to their
I actually that's on my to-do list today.
Yeah.
Is to reach out to one of my designers.
Works. And send that off to a bunch, have a template email, send it off to designers in your area. Work with real estate agents or stagers or local companies, something. Let it show places for free. Let people borrow it and try it in their homes. Like, you can have your work out in the world in so many places. It should not sit in your studio. There's so many opportunities. Who cares that it came back for the gallery? That's not where it was working for you. Have it work for you.
That's good advice. My sister has a yoga studio and we rotate the art.
Yes.
These women who go to yoga, that's my audience, right?
That's true.
That is like, I sell stuff out of there quite frequently. And it's such a great space. So I'm lucky to have that. So I'll do a rotate through there. But I will also, yes, be reaching out to, I have designers that work with Earls, and Earls likes to do local artists everywhere they build a new, because they're revamping all the Earls. The one guy who did buy it, he was like, the owner was like, I was just told what to do. He was so funny. I dropped it because I really value my collectors, and it's not too far. It was like an hour and a half away, Sherwood Park, Earls, from Lloydminster. And it's so cool because my little art academy students are like, I saw your stuff in the restaurant. And I said to my mom, that's Brandi. And they're like, no, it's not. And I said, yes, it is. Anyway, but Harold, who I dropped it off for, he was so nice. But I drove the work because it was 11 pieces. So I didn't want to ship it. Not when I could drive it an hour and a half. And we go there frequently anyway. So I drop it off. He's like, I just was told I have no part. He's like, I was made to renovate. Like, he was so great. But like, yeah, it's cool to have your art in spaces. Let's talk about the last thing, like following up on things, because specifically with our like freebie that we offered that was super popular, we talked about we need to follow up. So following up with collectors, following up with, you have these things
or launching
sitting there.
People launch a collection and they think the day it goes live, then they stop marketing it. You need to nourish it and keep it going, or else,
I launched some in COVID that I'm going to relaunch because people couldn't see it in person.
Yeah, or people say, oh, I've got prints sitting on my website that no one's buying them. I'm like, are you marketing them? Maybe not. Telling people about them? So why not take things down for a while, close it up, and then do a build up and relaunch things again? Why not focus maybe on 3 instead of 20? Like that. And you also have to think about, while you're building your audience, what's the threshold? How much can they handle? So if like your email list, does it have 100 people on it, or does it have 10,000 people on it? There's a big difference about how much you can like launch to people. You need to try things out. Always trying things out. But yeah, you need to follow up. You need to follow up on the galleries you submit to. You need to follow up on the art licensing deals. You need to follow up with designers. One of the things I teach about is like, you always want to remove barriers and roadblocks. Every time you follow up with a designer, a realtor, a corporate office, an art consultant, a restaurant, people are like, oh, thank you so much for sending me that email, because they had forgotten about it. They're so busy. It's off their radar. So you're the organized person. And hot tip, a lot of times the artists that get into galleries are the ones that are the most organized, not always who has the best work.
Yes. The people, just because you're talented, that doesn't mean a lick. No. 75% business.
Yeah. 2 is easy to work with. So if you follow up with people, you are like 10 times ahead of everybody else and closer to getting the job and to selling the work and to making the partnership or the collaboration. You're getting back on people's radars. You're someone who follows through. I don't know if this is true or not, Brandi, in all the years we've known each other, but like I always try to respond to all of my emails within 24 hours, 12 if possible. I think I do a pretty good job of it.
You do. I'm super obsessive about it too.
Because I just think that the people who get back to each other are the ones who you get noticed. They're the people they say yes to. People want to work with someone who's easy to work with. But don't be sitting around waiting for somebody to discover you and your art, to just swing by your studio and say, I want to buy everything. You need to show it to them. Fearlessly, bravely.
And that's where Instagram is a great tool. It's your online portfolio.
It's
free. This is what I do. Yeah, this is what I do. Almost every job I've gotten is from Instagram. I didn't necessarily sell stuff like I did in the early days when they let it go, when it was a free-for-all. I sold a bunch of stuff all the time. I would post something and it would sell. So it was hard coming off of that. Like it was hard coming off of, I need this, and it would sell immediately because, you know,
comments sold.
So many people, like 800 people would like it in the first hour, because that's just the way social media was a free-for-all. They didn't suppress posts. So that was hard, like having a free version of selling stuff and then having it whopped taken from you, you know, a few years later. But now I treat it as, for my jobs where I do make sustainable income, it is my online portfolio. People know I make murals. People know I run an art academy. People know I have art classes online. Like, it's just like, I think there's so many people that I encounter, especially at my last opening, there were some emerging artists and they're like, I don't know if I should put it up. And it's just like that, taking that first step. It's like, just put it up. What, like,
post.
No one's going to steal your images and make it. Like, that rarely happens. So many people are afraid of that, which I think is so ridiculous. Like, it has happened, but it's probably not going to happen to you.
No.
So
it's also like, people ask me all the time about, I lend all these paintings out to collectors who are maybe interested in something, not sure if they want to buy it. And I say, take it, put it in your house for 3 months and I'll like check back in with you.
I've never done that.
Oh yeah, do it. Because guess what? How many paintings do you think I've had returned in all the years I've done that?
Yeah, smart.
We'll always buy it.
Yeah.
They always buy it. And I make a contract. I have a simple contract. But anything bad has never happened. I would say in general, maybe I'm much more trusting than a lot of people, and maybe I take bigger risks. But I also attribute to a lot of just great things that have happened in my life. Really great things that have happened in my life, to just taking those risks and being trusting. And, you know, if you really think people are looking at you with a highlighter and scrutinizing you, they're not. Remember that. Are you doing that to other people, or are you just sort of flipping through?
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, leaving a really good feeling on someone is so important. And if it doesn't work out, then you're like, okay, and I'll try to fix it the best I can. And like, I had a partner, like, and this will happen. I had a 2-year partner and a sponsor, and they're like, we no longer want to partner anymore. And I was like, okay. So I put them together, and old Brandi would have gotten mad. Like, old Brandi would have been like confronted, like something. It's like, no, that was actually a really great partnership. And we both got something out of it. And this is going to leave room for another really great relationship for me. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And so I wrote them a really nice thank you. And I made them a very nice gift. And I said, and they're going to hang it in their space. And they were and I'm going to continue to support their business, and they're going to continue to support mine in a different way.
Yeah.
So I already know who I'm reaching out to for the next partnership, because I only take like 4 on a year, because I want to give a good sponsorship partnership. I want to give value to my partners. So you can see them there at the bottom of my newsletter, like, thank you to our partners, how to become a partner, you know? So it's like, you have to be really grateful and trusting and know that everyone's just doing their best too. you don't get mad at them and don't like hold anything, try to see it in that way, because the alternative was I'd stop going to their business. I'd ruin a relationship. I live in a very small place. That would have been that's a very poor business move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You need to learn
and
have business poise and suave and know that even if things dissolve, the relationship you had was mutually beneficial, and it continue to be even if you're not working together directly. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love them. I went there. What day is it? 2 days ago. They were great. They're wonderful. I appreciate them.
Yeah.
And like they had a follow-up Google review, and I left them like a great Google review. Like, you have to know what you put out there, you will get, like, not expect it, but just know that you should expect it, because that's what's going to happen.
It will flourish and multiply.
Yeah.
It's really, and I think I talk about this a lot too in my program, like it's really about collaboration over competition. And I mean, I don't have any secrets. I'm an open book. So I share what I've done in my business and how I've achieved things. And also I've worked with so many people over the years who've also given me permission to share the things that they've done. So I have those strategies as well. And also bringing in guests and experts as well to share their stories with the group, like you have come in as well. Great.
Yeah.
And it's for just also, I think it's really important for other people to see that, like, we're all just regular people figuring this out, and we did it, but not necessarily alone.
There's no real secret sauce.
No.
It's just we're doing this one day at a time.
Yeah, and just having supportive networks and collaborations and working together, because it can be a pretty hard slog if you're trying to figure it out all on your own. And that's a wrong turn. So it's kind of wasting time, wasting money. Gosh, artists getting taken advantage of like sending their work to Milan and Barcelona. And
oh my gosh, I get like so many of those emails, and I just like, you have been nominated as and I'm like, no.
Can I send you more information? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. I actually read a reminder every day in my favorite book. Is like, it always talks about staying in the creative plane. And we all have this ability as creatives, because when you slip into resentment or you land in the competitive plane, and that will like axe your growth. That will axe your growth immediately as soon as you snap. It's not like I'm like this. It's not like we're these flowery people who are just like innately like, we're both innately trusting and kind, but like we choose to take that further. We choose to, like, that is a choice. It's easy to snap into, a different way of thinking. It takes effort to, that's what, anyway, we could talk about that a long time. And that's why I think women should run the world. And that's where we'll end it.
Fantastic.
No, we have Melinda Gates talks about it in her book. Yeah. We have the ability to first internalize something and think about it, and figure out the best strategy moving forward.
Yep.
Where she said, I don't want to generalize here, like, and put a whole, but like men are more reactive in nature. And I was like, hell yeah, they are. I've lived with 3 like toddler boys. Like, they are reactive, Do
you ever write the email back, the grumpy version, so you don't send it?
My mom used to write notes. My mom used to write notes about like if people parked beside her. And I remember asking her, like, if they did something wrong, or like I was like, what are you going to do? Are you putting that on their car? And she said, no. And she'd close her book.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I love it. Yeah.
She'd be so pissed off. She was very, anyway. I just like, the only person losing when you hold on to anger is you.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the more you spread kindness and joy and gratitude and you collaborate, and it's like a muscle, right? And you get better and it comes easier, it comes more naturally, and then you feel better because it doesn't feel nice to be angry or jealous or resentful. Those are such yucky, icky, gross feelings that make you feel itchy, and they dig deeper and deeper. And
Yeah. I actually had this argument with some men in my life the other day, and they're like, why would you, team up with them, blah, 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 blah. And I can't say anything because I live in a small place. So basically that was the conversation. I can't mention any names or anything, but I was like, I'm sorry, did you quadruple your income in 1 year? Because I did. And the year before that, I grew by 394%. So I think what I'm doing by teaming up with maybe someone you thought wasn't or wouldn't do the same for me, that doesn't matter. If they are great and it feels good and maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. I can't tell the future.
Yeah.
But it's working and it's working really well. So I'm going to just stick to my guns here and you guys can stew away in your zone. Good luck with that. And I'm going to keep going with this. And it seems, and I got to donate a fuckload, I just dropped a fuckload of money to a cause that I cared about this year. Really so nice. I'm just going to keep going on this one and see where it takes me, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, these opportunities where you can set up and structure your business to how you want it to be, to give money or to give your time or to give your art or whatever resources. It's really
fun. Yeah. I'd rather sit in the non-complainy, like be mad at people, or I would rather not sit there. I don't even like to have those conversations anymore. I actually I'm just like, I'm good, and then I go and talk to you and I'm like, oh, I feel so much better now that I talked to someone who sees the potential in this and is growing in the same way.
I feel the exact same. I have to tell you, really quickly, I know we need to go.
I know. We do this every time. I had so much to do today. I was like, put a time limit with you and Shannon because
I know. I'm sorry.
No, go for it. You finish.
And collaborating and going further together, and even people who are maybe not in the same business as you. And so here I am. I just moved to Denmark in a new city, in a new country, in a new place. And I joined a group, and there was an international women's meetup group, but it's run by the organizers. Two of them are Danish, which is kind of a unique thing because often these groups are run by other foreigners. So it's nice. Anyhow, I showed up. I guess I was right on time. And the first person there,
you would be,
who I met with, she starts talking, and it was so negative, and it was such a downer. I was like, oh my gosh, I might have to leave. I realized that I'm so far removed from that dark, complaining world now that I start to have like an allergic reaction to it, to where I almost have to say, I'm really sorry, I have to
awkwardly smiling.
Yeah, I used to maybe try and help people feel better and coach them out of it and stuff like that. But it was just like, I was like, I'm having an aversion right now. I might actually have to leave because these
you want to surround yourself with it.
Yeah, because I have built I have spent the past 15 years building networks and communities with other motivated, powerful, creative women who want to go faster and further together and expand in a really supportive and positive way, full of gratitude and kindness to each other. And so when you dip your toes in some of those places, I was like,
so watch out who you surround yourself with. You're guarding yourself. That's an important boundary.
It was
It's surrounding yourself with people who, want to see you rise just as much as they want to rise.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So good to see you. And hopefully we'll get to meet in person for the very first time this summer.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. It'll be great.
Because that was like a last minute decision.
Vancouver Island?
Yeah. Like it was like, I feel like we should still go.
Yeah. Do it.
And then we're there at the same time. Like how crazy is the universe?
We need to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Have the greatest day. I'll release this next Friday because you're doing your free program, right? Right now?
I'm doing
20 minutes for free. Okay, I'll do an intro right now and I'll edit it and it'll be ready for Friday morning.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day. Get all the things
done. Bye.
Please know that you can always reach out at Brandi Hofer Studios on Instagram anytime, and be sure to check us out on YouTube at Brandi Hofer Studios Color Me Happy, where we are now pouring a lot of free tips and a lot of fun information and every one of our podcasts on there. We also have our book, Color Me Happy, See Your Everyday Ordinary as Extraordinary, and our Color Me Happy community on Facebook, which is free to join, where we uplift members and we do member features as well as features our members on our Color Me Happy podcast. We can't wait to hear from you. Please share everything you're working on and feel free to post in our Color Me Happy community any of your process shots or any questions you have for the group. We're happy to answer them in there as well. And we thank you so much for your time today. We sure do appreciate it. And have the most beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here. If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it. Thank you so much to our supporters and our community partners. We could not do this podcast and outreach and projects in our community without you. That is Red Bicycle Communications. They are so amazing. They uplift in so many ways in our community. Jill started her business and she talks about it on the podcast. So Jill Kelly, check out that first episode. She's come on a few times and empowered others along the way. So she's grown her own business and her vision, and she was even featured in the Toronto Star, I believe. Is that the right newspaper? Hopefully. It was very cool. It was a very cool business feature because she was like, I'm going to try this out in my community and we'll see if it works, and if it doesn't. And obviously it's been like probably more than a decade since, and they're doing really well, and they have founded the Women in Business Awards. So I'm very proud to be a partner with them. We have Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center. I love them so much. They make me feel good in my own skin. It's one of my biggest touch points and what I'm most self-conscious about. And I recently have been starting to get some of my tattoos removed that I got when I was 16 and 19. So obviously I didn't think those through, but it doesn't hurt, which was very cool and very surprising. So they are the only people locally who do tattoo removal, and of course, face treatments and a whole bunch of another like laser hair removal and an array of, you can do injections and a whole bunch of stuff. So check Nouveau out. We also have BioClean Disaster Services. They're so wonderful, and their mission is, I love their mission statements and their values. It's to uplift community and community through women and children. So what happened, and I remember talking to them about this when we initially partnered, is what happens when you empower females is they live a better life, and if they have children, then they raise better children, and that is the way that to empower community and growth and I guess like challenge the poverty cycle in a way. So so I love talking to them about that, and in our initial conversations of when they became a partner, and they have helped us along the way with mural washing and a lot of different projects around the city. So I love them so much, and they do a wonderful job because, I mean, it's for usually, like if your basement got a flood for some strange reason, like that's your most vulnerable time in your life, and they're there for you to help you through and ease any situation or help you in any way, because that is like when stuff like that happens, it's so like it's so frustrating. So they support people in that journey. And then we have Oasis and Hot Yoga Spin Studio, safe space for you to rest your mind and gain more energy and come back to yourself again. So I love it there. It's always been, it's a beautiful space. They have gorgeous plants, and it'll just refresh you and revitalize you. We're so lucky to have them in our community. Thank you so much for being here, and we will chat with you soon, my friends.